My name is Miguel Coronado. I am in Austin, Texas. I'm an illustrator and concept artist. And today I'm going to make a video about online resources. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/IIIMCIII. My username on most websites is Mike086. And you can find my website at www.mciii.net. And anyway, if you search my name, Miguel Coronado, I'm the third, so you got to put in the 3 I's. You'll find me online on Twitter, on different places. But let's get started. Conceptart.org it's a forum. It's focused on entertainment design, illustration, and there's a large focus on the technical aspects of art and illustration. And you can find honest critiques and feedback. But I'm also going to give a tidbit of personal information about these websites and what they have helped me in and why I use some more than others. Conceptart.org is the one to start on if you don't already know about it. It's a huge community. You should check it out and definitely just become involved. The critiques, though, I think sometimes the users on concept art can be overtly harsh, and they have a lot of attitude with the critiques, and I don't often think that's necessary. Actually, it's not necessary. So with that said, the forum I'm mostly active on is Crimson Daggers. This community stemmed from conceptart.org, and it was started by Dave Raposa, Dan Warren. It's almost the same kind of scenario. It's you have sketchbooks, mentoring, community challenges. This community is more focused on daily routines and studying, practicing, and when I do see the critiques online, I feel like there's a lot less attitude in the tone and the way the critiques are presented, and I think that's beneficial because in the learning process there's already going to be enough of that out in the world that you need to get some honest feedback from people. It helps that they're just trying to help you out without throwing in their own subjective comments. Anyway, moving on, I wanted to quickly highlight the resources section of the forum, and it's got I think about 8 pages of various links and websites, various links, and those links go to websites. But you'll probably want to start here if you're looking for some resources on tutorials and textures and everything you can think of. This is kind of how most of the threads are structured. So links: how to become a better artist, fine art books that are online for free, random idea generators, references, movie screen cap website. Anyone that ever is wondering where people get the movie screen captures to practice drawing from. Articles on composition. This is great. Lots of people post a ton of figure drawing reference websites and color and light websites. Anything that articles or websites that elaborate and expand upon those subjects. So this is one of my favorite places to go if I don't know what to do. If for some reason if I'm just kind of finished up a lot of drawing work and I'm trying to take a break from physically drawing, but I still want to stay focused, I'll come and maybe read an article from one of these links. And if you know all this red, these are all links that you can go to. And if you haven't already checked this out, this is a huge resource. Let me jump on to the next tab, and that would be if you're okay, so if you're looking to learn some of the basics of drawing and the fundamentals of illustration, then you should check out Control Paint by Matt Core. And you can go to his website, controlpaint.com, but you can also find him on YouTube. And all the videos are hosted on YouTube. And these videos have a strong focus on the fundamentals and using Photoshop from a basic level. Matt Core set out to create a series of videos that basically teach you from the ground up how to work in Photoshop as a concept artist. And besides going through the basics of Photoshop, he has several videos that cover the very basics of illustration in general. So you'll find actually lots of them are going to be on his website, so we'll check out his website real quick. You just Google search Control Paint, and it's Control spelled CTRL. The website's going to load up, and here we go. This is basically what he does full time, is this website, besides I think his illustration. And at this point I think the website's the majority of his income, but I don't know that for sure, don't quote me on that. Okay, so if you go to the video section here, we have a drawing, digital painting 101, drawing, traditional drawing. So for anyone who wants to learn the basics of drawing, if you need help on anything, all those videos are broken up into sections: digital painting 101, traditional drawing, drawing 2, composition basics, anatomy, perspective, reference materials. So here's perspective. Lots of people have trouble with perspective, but there's 5 videos on the basics of perspective that you can watch here. The brush tool, basic painting techniques. The videos keep going, 3D software, hardware, efficiency through repetition, uniquely digital techniques, user interface, theory and mindset, study habits. And then you can go to his store if you want, and he's got some very affordable videos for anyone that's looking to kind of get all of their information and save it to some kind of hard disk or something and just have a permanent copy. The videos are like $10, and if you know the prices of most instructional videos online, $10 is like super cheap. But it goes from a vehicle design start to finish for $10, realistic surfaces $10, custom brush design $10. Some of these things you can find online, I'll tell you right now. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and show you where to go for that. So like lots of these, design basics, vehicle design. If you don't have money, $10 is not much, I know, but if you're like, you might be in middle school or high school and maybe you just don't have any cash to spend. You can also go online to YouTube and go to my next resource. So let me just recap real quick. This is Control Paint by Matt Core. He's great for foundations and basics, and he does offer some videos on his store online that you can purchase. But if you don't have any money to watch some of this stuff, like some of these vehicle designs start to finish, design basics, grayscale the color, you can find these tutorials online. Sometimes it's better to purchase them. I mean, $10 isn't much, so you can buy 6 of these videos for the price of like one Nomon DVD. Feng Zhu Design School. This is the next resource I'm going to go to and talk about. And lots of people know about him already, but if you're brand new to this, you might not know these videos, or you may have seen one and not realize what it was. But these are free videos created by Feng Zhu, who is a concept artist in Korea. He studied at the Art Center, and he's done a bunch of giant movies and titles. But he's also got this school where he teaches entertainment design. And the great thing about these videos is that the focus falls into production work. And if you watch the videos, Feng Zhu will go out of his way to say that he doesn't teach the fundamentals and the basics of drawing, because he wants you to come to his school and learn that at the school. So he doesn't teach foundational techniques. What he does teach is basics of production art. So part of you might be thinking, well, that's weird, he doesn't teach, foundations of drawing, because, why wouldn't he want to teach that, for free online? But it doesn't really matter, because if you go back to Control Paint, you can find the foundation of drawing videos, and then once you've kind of evolved your skill to a point where you're going to want to learn more about production art for film and video games, you can make the switch over to FZD School. And lots of these videos, they start off pretty short. They start off as 10-minute videos broken up into 3 parts. And then they, I think because YouTube expanded the time limit, they jump into a couple hour-long videos, 30-minute videos. But these are the number one resource if you're just curious about the mindset and how to work in a studio and how to be efficient. Feng Zhu has a lot of information about efficiency and how to work effectively. I've been watching these recently, and what I'll do actually is I don't really watch them so much as I listen to him talk while I draw. So what you do is make a playlist of all these videos, and then get ready to sit down and draw, and just let him play through and just listen to everything he has to say while you're drawing. And every now and then you want to switch over and take a look at what he's doing, but the majority of the information is what he what he talks about and what he talks about and the process and how he works. So, and like I said, okay, so at Control Paint you could find videos on design basics. In FZD School you can find videos on design basics. So right here are Zombie Night Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and it goes through designing a character and different iterations, have coloring them, rendering them, silhouetting, using silhouettes to create creatures and forms, vehicle and ship design, environment design. It's all laid out here, right? So this would be the place to go to learn efficiency and productivity techniques. Let me check the chat real quick, just briefly, unless I closed it. May have closed the chat. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, so back to the start. Back to where I was at. Feng Zhu. Okay, so beyond Feng Zhu Design on YouTube, the next great place you can go to is Noah Bradley's YouTube channel. Noah Bradley's an environment fantasy artist and concept artist, and he's a freelance illustrator, but his channel just contains a huge library of resources, and they include everything from painting the female figure tutorial by Cynthia Shepard to interviews with Chris Oatley and Darren Yao, and there's a bunch of digital environment painting with Noah Bradley. So what you can do is some of these interviews, these interviews with these artists here, Darren and Chris Oatley, are like 2 hours long. Just listen in on those, and then the rest of these are some great resources here. Noah offers art camp online through his website. But anyway, he's someone I just started listening to while I'm working, and I'm still kind of just now getting into this little community here. But I just want to make people aware that he's out there. Okay, so the next channel is still on YouTube, and this is Dave Raposa's channel, and he's one of the founders of Crimson Daggers, and his videos are him and Daniel Warren, the two kind of founders of Crimson Daggers. They have some of the best videos, in my opinion, that you can find online, for free. So here's a quick rundown on what you got here. So let's go back and recap. At Control Paint, there were some videos you could purchase, and I said there were some that are good to purchase. They're all affordable. They're like $10. So, in my opinion, I think you should support a fellow man and buy a few of these videos because they're super affordable, $10. But I also wanted to make people aware that there are resources like color to grayscale to color. You can find these tutorials online if you search hard enough, and I'm about to tell you where to find one of them. One of them is in Dave Raposa's channel. There's actually a video called Grayscale to Color Tutorial. It's like a 6-minute video. It's really quick, really it's really quick. It's really basic. It's not too much of a mystery. But beyond those videos, we have several tutorials. There's a color overlay tutorial, a texture tutorial. You've got how to record actions in Photoshop, and I think the best, there's two sides to this. So some of the best ones on here are the Critters videos, which are the live stream critiques for artists online, and the Crimson Conversations, which are the interviews that Dave and Dan did with professional concept artists and illustrators, and they're just awesome to listen to. They're like 2.5 hours long, and they're just non-stop information from professional artists, and you get to hear about how they got their start and how they got to where they are now and what they're currently up to. These videos are all about a year old, and the Critters videos are these were a big help for me, and I didn't realize how much they're helping me until I was like in the middle of watching them, and I kind of realized that I hadn't been, I realized how I should use them. Night sketch tutorial, and then of course Skull and Shark, which is Dave's comic book is coming out. So with Dave, you can also find Daniel Warren, and he's a freelance illustrator, concept artist, and he's got a lot of critique and paint over videos that you can find. And these are just great to listen to. Again, like I just play them in the background while I'm drawing. Besides these, though, Dan did a really cool mentoring class, and when he was doing the mentoring class, it was about a year ago, he basically, what did he do? He he basically live streamed all the critiques and feedback for his class, and he put them online, so you can follow along with his class if you wanted to, and actually like go through the class with the viewers like after the fact. But basically his class was to redesign some key King Arthur characters in a different civilization and time period. And yeah, so you can find these mentoring class 1, mentoring class 2, Merlin, King Arthur, Mordred, Morgana, and what else? And he's got a bunch of interesting talks with both Dave Raposa and some other artists. And those are fun to listen to. So, next resource. Keep moving. Let's go to another YouTube channel. This is Scott Robertson. He's got some awesome videos. I haven't checked out as many of his because I just realized he was online. So I will be watching these more later. But Scott Robertson created the what did he create? He creates all those art books you see that are like industrial design, and that's the title of the book. It's called Industrial Design. And if you know what The Skillful Huntsman is, he wrote that book with some students from the Art Center. So he's got some awesome work. He's got a lot of awesome work and a lot of great videos here, as well as all the books that he publishes through his company. I forget what the name is, but you Google it. Just search for it, Scott Robertson. You'll find out everything you need to know. He was a trained industrial designer, so as far as industrial design goes, you're going to get type of technical proficiency and a way about thinking about design. I'm not saying that right. Technical proficiency and an attitude about design that centers around function and form and function, but I think a little more of the function. So like, while there's lots of beautiful designs, everything is designed to look functional and work in the real world. Also, he's like best friends with Neville Page, who is a creature designer, but a famous creature designer. So anyway, Scott Robertson Design. I'd have more to say about these, but I haven't watched them myself yet, so I will be watching them and listening in to these videos. But they're on YouTube, so search them, seek them out, watch them, listen to them. I think that's the next one here. Gurney, James Gurney. Same kind of deal here. I just realized he was online, and I just realized that that he was online. I have his book, Light and Color, and I want to go ahead and do a quick plug for that. But his Light and Color book is the book that I wish I knew about when I was younger, and I wish I had realized how awesome it was sooner. But it's pretty much a must-have, and you'll hear people say it over and over again that his Light and Color book's a book you should look up. But like, if I break it down for you, the Light and Color book that he did is pretty much the book people are hoping exists in the world about color and light and how it works, and it does exist, and it's called Light and Color by James Gurney. So look it up, buy it on Amazon. It's not that expensive, and it's a book you'll always be able to use. So anyway, let's go on to the next resource. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This is actually Ashthorpe's website, and the reason I'm here, Ashthorpe is a designer, works in motion graphics and user interface design for film, and I believe mostly film, but I'm sure he has also some video games too. But he runs a podcast called The Collective Podcast, which you can find on SoundCloud.com. These are just amazing. The Collective Podcast, they're just long 2.5 hour interviews with artists, designers, musicians. And okay, so now from Ashthorpe, podcast is a must. It's my favorite podcast. It's awesome. We're gonna take a quick step backward, and when I really started getting into podcast shows and listening to podcasts online or through iTunes, one of the first podcasts I listened to was Chris Oatley's Artcast, and Chris Oatley's awesome. He's just awesome, but he's a digital painter and a character designer that used to work at Disney, but now he runs his own online school. So he's got free tutorials and concept artist career guide. His podcast is really great. Chris Oatley, he's got such a positive attitude about art and design. He's just a great guy to listen to in general, but his attitude on everything, it kind of trumps most others, almost everyone else's. Maybe, like him and Ashthorpe are two like the most positive people in the industry that I know about, that are putting out messages of positiveness and just good energy. And these are the two. So Chris Oatley, Ashthorpe, both are like these two people doing podcasts. They do great interviews, great tutorials, great how-tos, and they're both super professional. He used to work at Disney. Ashthorpe works on like all the biggest movies, and these two guys have some of the most continuous work. So these guys are always going to be producing work. So Chris Oatley makes his living off of this school that he runs now, and part of that school is still like him putting out podcasts, or it kind of goes in conjunction. And I say that because in the podcast, he always talks about his schools now, along with whatever the topic is for the day. Let me go real quick and take one step back. Chris Oatley and Ashthorpe have a great positive outlook. Dave and Dan have a very I don't know how to say it properly without sounding like it's negative. They tell you how it is, and with Dan and Dave, they talk about the struggles they went through. I think they most recently got out of that time of struggle, and it's kind of fresh on their mind of like this period where they had to like just bust their ass to get to where they are. And if you need to ever hear about how hard the industry can be, but how much it pays off in the end, you can listen to Dave and Dan, because right now they just got out of that part of that part of their careers, where Ashthorpe and Chris Oatley have kind of been out of that part for a while now, and they've kind of moved on to bigger things, I feel like. So where Dave and Dan are just on the tail of Ash and Chris. Anyway, I'm a dork about these podcasts, so if you hear me talk like that, it's because I've listened to all these nonstop whenever I'm drawing. Next resource, Chris Oatley. Okay, besides chrisoatley.com, he and Laura Ennis have a podcast and website about creator-owned comics and creator-owned art called Paper Wings. This is the other, like, super positive. I say positive, I mean, like, they're just always in a good mood, and they're always just talking about, you know, you could do it kind of vibe they're sending out. But Paper Wings podcast is just if you need to hear more about how to tell stories, the importance of storytelling, and how to break down storytelling, comic book telling, or for film, sorry, not comic book telling, but comic book creation. Paper Wings is a place to go, and you can find the podcast here, and you can just find each episode, listen to them on iTunes. And with this out there, we're going to go to the next podcast, which is actually this one. This was the first illustration podcast I ever started listening to, as well as one of the first podcasts I ever started listening to. And they took a big hiatus for a while. But this podcast is geared towards freelance illustrators. And more specifically, it's geared towards editorial freelance illustrators that happen to moonlight as comic artists. But here's what it is. Big illustration party time. And this podcast is like the one that got me started listening to podcasts. These guys are real great. They're real goofy, but they're both professional freelance illustrators, and they've got some good stuff. These guys are like close to home for me because this is the first show I started listening to. They took a big hiatus at one point, so what you're gonna do is if you start listening to this podcast, I think it episode 44, yeah. So episode 44, they stop, and then the show went on a hiatus for a while, and then they went on like a year-long hiatus or something, and then they got back started again, and then the show stopped again, and then just this last year they started up again. And it's really great. Not only can you hear and follow along with the lives of these two illustrators, but they talk about lots of the basics of freelance illustration that most people want to know about. And if you're like wondering about contracts, about what it means to get an art agent, what it means to work on spec, and the dangers of working on spec, this is the podcast you can go listen to. But this is geared a lot towards editorial illustration versus concept illustration. So that's something that some people might not be as interested in listening to it, but I definitely recommend that you try it out. So, but for me, this was a must, because this was the first illustration podcast that I ever heard, and as well as the first podcast I really started listening to. So, hello. I'm actually just about done with this talk. My L is not typing out properly. Right. So, I'm going to wrap this up now. But if you missed it, I'm going to put it on YouTube. I got to edit out the first part because it's kind of wonky. But the other thing I'm going to have to do is I need to start working on more of a schedule. And I need to schedule out I need to schedule out a regular live streaming regiment. So once I get that done, that'll be something that hopefully people can look forward to. So I'll be doing a lot more critiques and tutorials. Oh my god. Bonjour. My girlfriend is French Scottish. I'm gonna have to end this live stream though. I will be on again in don't know why the chat's being so crappy. Great. Well, I will be back. Thanks for joining me. I will edit this video and put it online, and I won't save this version because it's so janky, but I will cut it up, put it on YouTube, and I'll be back online to do a live stream and a critique. Alright, thank you for joining me. Look up my work, www.mciii.net, mciii.net. I will be back on shortly. Gonna grab some coffee.